What is going on, everybody? So before we get into this video fully, there are some things that I need to clear up. If you paid attention closely last week, you may have noticed that the content kind of took a little bit of a dip there. It was an unbelievably long and exhausting week. I got sick for a few days there, and then I had some personal things that I had to take care of, so the content may not have been there. And this video was actually filmed Friday, and I was not feeling good at all that night. I was still sick, I was exhausted. So the energy in the video, I talk about it later in that video. I am feeling much better. We are officially back on track here. It was just a really long week, so I do apologize. Let's get on to the video. With the NHL's general managers meetings officially taking place, there was one topic of discussion that I feel like has gotten a little more attention more than others, and that is the playoff format. The general managers, the owners, the fans, everybody wants them to change the format of the playoff style back to the 1 versus 8 style that the NHL once had. However, the issue with that is the one man who is not budging on that decision is none other than the commissioner, Gary Bettman himself. So, in this video, I'm not going to pick a side. I'm not going to pick the 1 versus 8 format. I'm not going to pick the current format that the NHL currently has. I'm going to stick straight in the middle, and I'm just going to kind of look at what's going on right now in the NHL and should the NHL go back to the 1 versus 8 style. So, the current playoff format that the NHL has with the wild card system and all that. Now, Gary Bettman's one argument about the current NHL playoff format is the fact that it creates rivalries and it gives the NHL a must watch first round. Now, the argument from the 1 versus 8 group is that the first round is always good. Even when it was 1 versus 8, you still had these great rivalries in the first round. You still had these fun and entertaining round one matchups. Nowadays, you still do get that. However, if you take a look at the Central, you're going to have either Colorado, Dallas, or Minnesota sitting at home when the first round ends. And that to me just does not feel right. In my opinion, you can still have a fantastic first round and a must watch first round, even if you do go back to the 1 versus 8. Yeah, sure, you might not get the Titan matchup in the first round like a Dallas versus Minnesota, like a Colorado versus Dallas, or whatever the scenario may be. But you still do get some very, very good matchups. And over time, it does start building rivalries. And here's one big thing that I really wanted to touch on in this video is taking a look at the current Eastern Conference standings right now. We have talked all year long about just how wild and how just jam packed that conference is from top to bottom right now. I don't know if we necessarily get that if we have the 1 versus 8 format. Don't get me wrong, we would still get a very entertaining playoff race, but I don't necessarily know if we would get one like this. And it's been like this for the entire year. It hasn't just been a part of the season where, if you take a look at the West, it felt like at the beginning of the season, the West was wide open. And now you're starting to see some of those playoff races really start take place. It's been like that since day one in the Eastern Conference. So I'm genuinely curious, if the NHL did go back to the 1 versus 8, would we necessarily be getting playoff races like this? Would we have that group of teams battling for the final wild card spot, for the final spot in either the Metro or the Atlantic Division? If you take a look at the Metro, you've got Columbus, you've got the Islanders, you've got Philly and Washington, who still aren't even really that far out of that final Metro spot yet. You have all those teams going at it for that final spot. You have the Atlantic Division, which is just as tight. You have teams like Boston and Detroit, who is still currently fighting to stay in those two wildcard spots. And again, I just don't know if we necessarily would get these high energy, high entertaining games with almost everything on the line like we would with the 1 versus 8. Again, I'm not trying to pick a side here. I'm staying in the middle of this. I don't mind going back to the 1 versus 8 format. I also wouldn't absolutely despise them keeping the playoff format the way it is. Obviously, if I had to pick, I would probably go back to the 1 versus 8, but again, I'm not like as opposed to this current format like a lot of people are, like most people are. So I don't know. Maybe this is going to end up being just a nothing video entirely. However, I just feel like it should be mentioned. Like, do we get this kind of playoff race with the 1 versus 8 format? Everyone wants to go back to the 1 versus 8 format, but I don't know if we necessarily get this type of tight, even, close race with the 1 versus 8 format. I don't know if we do. So I already feel like I know your guys' opinions on this. I feel like everybody is pretty much on board with the 1 versus 8 format as opposed to the current format. But let me know what you guys do think about this. Do you think we still get a playoff race like we have gotten in the Eastern Conference all year long in the 1 versus 8 format? So, as always, leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That is the only link in the description for a reason. That is because it will take you to all of the social media platforms for this channel. Currently, right now, we are only on Instagram and X. I will say I am still trying to get a TikTok page up and running, but I will say the Instagram page does get a little more tender love and care because that is how this entire page started in the first place. So if you enjoy these videos and you're looking for some extra content, again, Linktree link in the description. It'll take you to wherever you want to go. So with all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Again, both are free. Both really help out the channel a lot. And of course, if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here because it genuinely does mean the world to me. Again, I apologize if the energy is just not there in this video. Again, it has been just an exhausting week from start to finish, nonstop. So I do apologize if this video seems a little off and is probably going to be a little bit short. Just thank you for watching. I greatly, greatly appreciate it more than you guys ever know. And as always, stay tuned for more Jersey and hockey content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.